Hi Taurus, I'm going to be doing a self-love tarot reading. These are general messages. If they don't resonate with you this week, come back next week, maybe I can help you then. These are self-love readings designed for Spirit to showcase areas where we might be letting ourselves down, not giving ourselves 100%, or areas where we can be more authentic with ourselves. Part of self-love is self-acceptance, and it's hard to accept parts of ourselves that we're not really willing to acknowledge. I'm sorry about the noise, somebody is mowing their yard. I do a 6-card spread, Taurus, and the 7th card is going to be a message from Spirit. I shuffled a little bit just a second ago, but let's really make sure that we're doing it. Get it all nice and in there. Okay. Taurus, this first card is going to be how you feel or where you are. This second card is going to be something Spirit wants you to prioritize. This third card is going to be something Spirit wants you to deal with. Maybe you've put it on the back burner. Maybe you said, you know, I just don't have time or energy right now and I'll deal with it later. And Spirit's like, you're going to have to deal with that now, bud. Yeah, sorry. In the fourth position is going to be something that Spirit wants you to acknowledge, to be more authentic with yourself. We're really multifaceted, so Spirit's just like, hey, showcase this side of yourself more, and you'll feel better, or more like yourself at least. In the 5th position, Spirit says, let something go. In the 6th position, this is going to be something you need to acknowledge. It could be in your environment, and maybe you just didn't notice it, or like you just didn't know it was for you. And in the 7th position, like I said, I do Spirit message. Taurus, let's see how you're doing. Right now, Spirit says you're the King of Wands. Wow. Taurus, very fiery, sort of forward-moving, sort of excitable, sort of really brave. Definitely very passionate. Passionate King of Wands. Look at him on his unicorn, flying over that fire. You know, nothing's gonna stand in this guy's way. And not only that, but he's bringing that fire with him, okay? Wherever he's going, he's gonna be in control. Taurus. Okay then, let's see. Something Spirit wants you to prioritize, you know? Is this Chariot. Wow, so you have forward movement too. I don't know if you can see him way back here, but this bowl is going to be a source of problems. We have 2 here, this light and dark, the sense of duality, good and bad, you know, what's in the universe, feminine and masculine. But we see this bowl in the back, he's dug his heels in. This bowl looks more ready to go, but you are the Chariot driver, and the universe is saying, hey man, you really need to get it together. Traditionally in the tarot, the Chariot is pulled by the Sphinx, and the Sphinx don't have any leashes or tether, and the Chariot driver uses his brain. So it's really a sign of like willpower, how much self-discipline that you have to get to where you need to go. And the universe is saying, hey, you have all this passion and this energy, and I didn't want to bring this up because, like, you know, we're not there yet, and that doesn't mean it has to be a bad thing. But the King of Wands, because of the fire all around him, signifies to me maybe that somebody that didn't think their way through things as much as they could have. Yeah, there's like a lot of gusto, there's a lot of go behind it, but the thought process that should have been involved was just lacking this time around, right? And so here you have this Chariot. So again, you want to move forward, but you just need to get everything moving in the same direction. Maybe right now, Taurus, you have like a head or a heart decision that, you know, you're just like of 2 minds about. Maybe you want to try a new job and it pays more money, but it's not something you'd be excited about, right? Universe is saying that something you need to deal with. It's so funny how often I get this card. There's so many cards I don't even get, and I'm always excited when I get a new one, but then when I get the same one over and over again, it kind of makes sense considering the types of messages I'm doing. So here we have the 8 of Cups. Indolence, right? And so the indolence is not necessarily idolence, which would be to just be to remain idle, to be a lazy person. This is somebody who's unwilling to deal with their feelings. And look, you can see here, Taurus, this guy, he's walking off this pier, right? But like, where is he going? He's trying to get away from these 8 cups, but there's an ocean around him. And he's under this full moon, so he's under the illusion that he can get away somehow from dealing with these emotions. And the universe is saying, no, Taurus. Right now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to, like, buckle down and deal with this. You're going to have to get both sides of you on the same page. Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oof. So, you're going to have to play nicely with yourself, Taurus. I only see one person in this picture. So while I do believe that you are of two minds about something, I feel like you are only only fighting yourself here. And again, with this card, there's only one person. However, it says truce. The universe wants you to acknowledge a truce. The Four of Swords. The Four of Swords in the traditional tarot is like a forced rest. Like the universe has actually forced you to take a break. So I don't get the sense of like a forced rest here. And because it says truce at the top, I really think this is you coming into balance with yourself. Those halves of yourselves that are arguing or that are fighting or that are just not working together here, Taurus. I think it's super interesting too that you got the Chariot, which is pulled by two bulls in this deck. So there are two Taurus. You were of two minds about something. And the universe is saying, like, you really need to pick a side. Like, you really need to pick whatever direction that you're going, because, like, you're putting yourself in, like, a really stressful situation. And that's why you have those Four of Swords, that rest. Like, the universe is saying, like, put it freaking down, make a decision, and then, like, you know, just give yourself a break. Ugh. But I think that what's holding you back is this sense of failure. We have the Seven of Swords. I'm sorry, the Seven of Wands. Oh, I see it and I just couldn't say it. The Seven of Pentacles. Now, it says failure at the top, and I just want to. I really should make like a video about like all of my buzzwords or whatever. So when I say failure, okay, let me say just first and foremost, Taurus, that I've done like so many readings on you, and Taurus are like BD energy, if you know what I mean. They're really are. Like, you get the Magician all the time. You're just like, I just get like good positive vibes, like strong vibes. Like, I like it, okay? So when I see this card and it says failure, never to me in a million years would I think that you are a failure or a loser. I wouldn't throw that word at you. When I say things like that, it's because that's like the kind of energy that I get. And I know a lot of people who struggle with self-worth. So if you feel like a loser, you're not. Okay, if I say, oh, because you feel like a loser, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying because I know that that's how sometimes, you know, we struggle and we say things like that to ourselves. So I have this card and it says failure. But what I want you to acknowledge down here, Taurus, what she's doing there, she's just drawing circles in the ground. Okay, she's not getting anywhere. And when we talk about failure, a lot of us talk about, you know, having to start back over. But I just want you to know that failure is like redirection. When we fail at something, it means that that thing just was not for us. And that's okay. We don't want to be in an environment or with people or in a situation that's not for us. You need to let go of the sense that like you failed in some way or that you will fail. The only time that I would even remotely be willing to call something failing is if it's for you, but you just give up on it. Or more importantly, if you give up on yourself. If you feel in any way, Taurus, like you are giving up on yourself, my email address and my Instagram are in the box below. We should talk. I can do one of these for free for you, or I have other things I want to try, but I haven't had a chance yet because I just don't know any people in my life who want tarot readings. But don't feel like a failure, Taurus, okay? Because that's not true. Universe wants you to let go of this energy. Maybe in the past you haven't like succeeded in certain things. Like this is if this is a relationship, which I don't see a single other person. I just see one person and everything. But maybe this is like something you've tried. Like maybe you wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? And I know nothing about entrepreneurship, so excuse me if I don't get any of these analogies right. I'm just trying to connect with you better. Maybe you wanted to be an entrepreneur, but whatever you tried, like it didn't work out. Maybe you wanted to like Maybe you made phone cases for Nokia back in the day, right? But a Nokia doesn't need a phone case, and so like you failed. And now they have all these really new cool phones, but like sometimes, you know, you don't get like for whatever reason the camera's in a different place or whatever. You could make like a phone case that has like sliding parts so that like everyone could use the phone case, right? But because you failed in the past, you don't want to try now. And so the universe is saying, don't like focus on the failure. Stop being of two minds. Don't consider yourself a winner on one side and a loser on the other. Like, really get yourself on the same page. Give yourself a break. Really give yourself a break. Stop feeling like a failure. And acknowledge that there is justice in the situation, okay? Acknowledge that in the universe there is justice and there is balance. There is balance. If something didn't work out before, it's not a failure, it just means it wasn't for you. It means that the universe wanted you to try harder, try in a different way, or go in a different direction, or utilize all of your skills in a way that you'd never thought about before, okay? So it's not bad, it's not. It's upsetting, yeah, because like we have expectations, we put a lot of emotional work into it, and we want it to work out. But the universe is saying there is balance. So acknowledge that not everything is always going to go poorly. Not everything is always going to go great, and that's fair too. But there will be balance in the situation. Yes. Taurus, the Three of Pentacles. Universe is saying it just takes work. Okay? Works. This guy, again, he's alone by himself, but he has like 3 drawings here. And I always think of this as like really indicative of like different works. And the card does say works, not work, right? So not putting work into it, but having lots of things in the works. Maybe one thing didn't work out, but the next thing will. Maybe this and this didn't work out, but that thing will. Multiple things in the works. But like if it's ideas that you're having, okay, so if it's ideas you're struggling to have or ideas you're struggling to bring to fruition, all of that is happening in your brain, right? And if your brain, if you're clouding it with self-doubt, well, it's not going to work properly. You need lots of water and lots of sleep. I know, that's probably really hard. I feel like that's hard for a lot of people. Because, yeah, you can get in enough water, but can you force yourself to get enough sleep? No. Do you want to get on Ambien? Probably not. Sleep is really hard to come by. But you can't drown yourself in self-doubt. You have to like try healthier things, healthier ways. Let's go ahead and clarify, Taurus. The universe is saying right now you have all of this drive. You have all of this energy. You want to go somewhere. You want to do something. There's passion behind you. But for whatever the reason, you know, I don't know. You're just in this energy. Sorry. Universe is saying that maybe your passion and your drive is towards a new beginning. Well, that makes sense, Taurus. That would make sense. Maybe you do want to start something new, right? Maybe you did have an idea or something you want to try, maybe a new career or something for a new beginning. And you have all this passion maybe, but you're afraid to let go. Yeah, maybe this is the scary part, is you want this new beginning, but you are afraid to let go. And unfortunately, we can't stay stuck in our comfort zones. We just can't. I just had this conversation with Aries. They came up as a King of Pentacles, and in my deck, it doesn't show the King of Pentacles is moving. You know? So, when we hold on to things, we're like, when we hold, like if I were to grab my porch right now, my porch railing, and I were to just hold on to it, you know, where could I go? Nowhere. So we have to learn to let go of things. The Chariot says here that you are of two minds about something. Literally two bulls, two Taurus, trying to move in the opposite directions. So what are you pulling against here? I think it's the sense of failure. And the universe is saying, bro, give yourself a break. Maybe whatever happened in the past, maybe it wasn't even your fault. Or maybe it was your fault, but it was like a really small thing. You know, sometimes we put a lot of importance on small things. And the universe is saying that if you get yourself together, if you become of one mind on this, if you know, put forth the effort to make a decision and get yourself to agree, that's going to lead to you moving forward. You will get that Chariot to move, and that's going to lead to ascension, which is literally just you coming to that next level. I think right now you're just in the middle of a test, probably. You probably had a lesson on this a few times, and this is really where we learn to change those habits and those patterns. As we go through life, you know, we learned that, like, either to survive, we have to give and give and give, or that we just can't give at all, that we will not give, and that we won't let people give to us. We'll just block people off. Self-love, learning those new those habits, is just redirecting those patterns so that we're both giving and receiving, okay? And that's forward movement. When you get into alignment with yourself on this, you're going to be able to receive and give, and you're going to feel, you know, more at home with yourself. And that's what we're trying to go for. That's that ascension. You have to let go of this sense that, like, this is a burden, or that, like, maybe you can't do it. Fear is a really big hindrance. I know that people think that, like, the opposite of love is hate. Hey, sorry, 1 second. Hey, 3, 2, 1. Come here. Come here. Good girl, come here. Pooter. Right now. Sorry. We're just out on the back porch, and I just don't want her to go wandering off. And I don't know where I was. So, a burden. Change is hard, change is a burden. I'm not really sure where I was going with that. But we do have this third position. Something to deal with now. And the universe is literally saying that there are feelings, you know, that you're still just not dealing with. It could be anything. It could be a failure. It could be, you know, sadness. It could be just anything, really, but you're just not dealing with it. And the universe is saying that's holding you back. And the universe wants you to, you know, find a creative way to deal with the situation. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I don't know what we were talking about before, but going back to those, reshaping our patterns, right? We learn to do things one way, and we have to relearn to do things a different way. That takes creative thinking. This is about patterns, okay? So maybe, actually, Taurus, this is a pattern that you have of not dealing with things. And universe is saying that, like, this has affected you in the past, and this is going to affect you now. And if you're not careful, it will affect you in the future. Like I said, I think this is a test that you're going through. And universe is saying, like, if you pass the test, this isn't something you have to deal with again. But if you continue to avoid whatever it is you're trying to avoid, you know, it just keeps coming around. It just keeps coming around. It's a cycle, right? And so, like, let's say if you're washing your clothes in the laundry and then, like, someone interrupts your cycle, you have to start the cycle all over again, right? It's not like you can just pick up where you left off. You gotta start over. I mean, if it's just like a few seconds, and I think that it usually does just pick up, but, like, if they leave it open for a day, you have to start over. Or, like, if they take your laundry out and put it on top. Okay. Anyway, but the universe here is saying that there's feelings you're not dealing with. I think they revolve around this sense of failure, but that you have to give yourself a break. This is literally just trying, the universe is telling you to acknowledge that sometimes things don't work out. Take a break. Give yourself a truce. Come to this sense of truce with yourself, okay? Literally give yourself a break. I don't like people, and I'm sorry to say this, but I don't like people who can't cut themselves slack. I know that it doesn't necessarily translate to us, like the rest of us, right? So say you're a Taurus and you're just like, oh, I'm such a failure. I know that doesn't translate to me directly, but, like, say I'm interested in you, and you're just like, but I'm a failure, how could you be interested in me? And then that's something I have to deal with. Or say I depend on you for something, and you think to yourself, well, I'm not dependable, don't depend on me, I'm just a failure. Like, your limiting beliefs about you limit your interactions with me and, like, you know, everyone else. So that's just it's a really hard thing to deal with for you and for me. And if we could both just find a way to help you move past it, yeah, we'd both be in a better place. I'm sorry if that's offensive, but, like, it's so much to deal with, you know? So the universe is saying, just give yourself a break, Taurus. I'm a Pisces, and, like, with all my emotional intelligence, I give you permission to just say, okay, yeah, all right, it's okay. Oh, it's just okay. All right, it's okay. Let's see. Yeah. Again, I think that, like, you really do need to give yourself some freaking space from yourself. I know those earth signs. I know y'all. I don't know many Taurus personally, but I know a bunch of Virgos. I am like almost surrounded by Virgos, and I know like Capricorns too. So I know that you guys are like really hard on yourselves. You tend to be like judgmental, and it's not that you mean to be judgmental. It's just that you're extremely good at compartmentalizing. And like when we do it in a healthy way, that's what they call it, compartmentalizing. But when we do it in a negative way, that is called judgment, right? Okay, whatever, make up your mind. But you're really good at being hard on yourself. Give yourself some space from you and your criticism. With my niece and my sister, what I try to do, my niece is a Virgo, my sister is a Capricorn, what I try to do is just like, introduce themselves to this idea that, or introduce them to this idea that that weird voice in your head that tells you things. We gave her a different name. I think my sister, I think my niece calls her Janice or Janet or something like that. I don't know. But basically it's the idea that like when like an intrusive thought comes to her and it's like, oh, you don't look good in those jeans, she's like, oh, thank you, Janet, for your opinion. You can like go away now. And I think that's great because like imagine if someone else were to say these things to you, Taurus, the things that you say to you. Imagine that. Would you put up with that? No. No, a Taurus would not. A Taurus would not. Right? So give yourself space from yourself too. Don't treat yourself worse than you would treat someone you don't like. Stop being angry with yourself. Taurus, you're not a failure. Failure is just a word. Rejection is just a word. These aren't places. We don't live there. I'm not Taurus at 101 failure lane. You're not. You are a human being who is multifaceted, and one of those facets happens to be that you failed at something one time. Maybe you're like me and you fail at tons of things. Oh my God, Taurus. The amount of things that I failed at. The amount of things that I failed at in one semester of lifetime sports, okay? In one semester, the amount of things I failed at could like really triumph over an entire lifetime of somebody else's failures. Not that we are here to compare traumas. I am just saying that there are many things in this world that I'm not good at. And like if I were to sit down and like think about them, there are way more things that I'm not good at than that I am good at, and I would just be sad about it. Yeah. So I know it's going to be a struggle, Taurus. I'm sure that like, again, if this is something you've been doing for a long time, if this is the way that you've learned to deal with your own needs is by just like ignoring them, and then when you do want something and you don't succeed, you just like, put yourself on the back burner, then this is going to be like a really hard thing to deal with. I can see that. So it's going to be a struggle, and that's fair. If you feel like it's something you can deal with on your own, but you just need a little bit of direction, again, my email address and my Instagram are in the box below. But if this is really something that like does affect you, then I'm always an advocate for professional help. Why wouldn't you want to work with somebody who can literally help you attain your goals? Therapists, listen, if your goal is just to, be able to talk, I know a lot of people who live in homes where you can't talk. You can't say how you feel. If you just want to talk, a therapist, they're really helpful. If you want somebody who's going to like listen to the issue and then help you figure out ways of retraining your brain, I suggest a psychologist. I have a lot of like post-traumatic stress. Go figure. Who would have known? Yeah, not me. Well, me a little bit, but and I just learned different ways of dealing with that. Because of my stress, I have really bad anxiety, and because of my anxiety, I can have panic attacks. But with the help of my psychologist, I've learned to recognize my anxiety. I've learned to talk through my anxiety and not let it escalate to the point of a panic attack. So I always recommend professional help. But this is a transformation. And so like really whatever you choose to do is up to you, Taurus. The universe just says that would be a good thing to let go of. That sense of failure. Let's see. Because the universe wants you to acknowledge that there is justice. There's justice in the world, okay? So if you failed once, it does not mean that you're going to fail every single time. It's an inner journey, though, okay? That's the thing about self-love. It's always going in. And the deeper you go inside, and the more willing you are to address what you find there, you will be full of more sense of joy. Because imagine if like all of the yucky, gunky things that we think and we do and we've experienced and just like carry with us is taking up space in our bodies, right? And once we get rid of that junky, crappy stuff, we make better room for good things. Cake, donuts. I would pick donuts or apple turnovers. Yeah, but the universe is saying that there's going to be more in line for you, okay? And it's not just putting in work, because I really do think that, like, you've kind of done the work. I think that this is about, like, continuing to keep your mind open and continuing to, like, you know, get involved in things. Discernment. Oh, that's a really good point too. Okay, and I think that's great. Right over this works. If you failed at something in the past, then yes, absolutely, 100%. You know, overthink it. Like, I mean, you're gonna do it anyway, so I'm not gonna tell you not to. Overthink it. Really, look at it. Historically, towers fall for a reason. And the reason we learn history is to look at how towers fell so that in the future we can build towers that won't fall the same way, right? My niece complains. She's like, I don't like history. Why do you have to do it? I'm like, because Nazis. Literally because Nazis. Because, like, if we don't watch how, like, history has progressed in the past, we're not going to be prepared for what's coming towards us in the future. You can learn future lessons by reading history's lessons. So if you've been involved in stuff that hasn't worked in the past, absolutely overthink it and really analyze it and figure out where you went wrong. Maybe you trusted the wrong people. Maybe you just took too long. Maybe there was more involved than you thought. I hate when that happens. You're just like, it's gonna be like wham bam thank you ma'am, and then it's like wham 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 wham, and I don't even like that lady anymore. But, like, you know, for whatever the reasons, analyze it, figure it out, and then take that with you. Use that discernment. Follow what feels authentic to you. So, you know, in the past, maybe you didn't listen to yourself. Maybe somebody really wanted you to get into the scrambled egg business, and you made one of those restaurants that's like eggs and things. Yeah, I hope you didn't invest in that. If you're watching this right now, I'm super sorry. That was a bad idea. Eggs and things. Yeah, I like eggs too, but, like, how lucrative can that be? Eggs? Anyway, you know, and maybe somebody was like, yeah, eggs are gonna be like the new thing, and you were just like, and they were like, no, eggs. And then somebody else was like, actually, it's gonna be coffee, and then, like, they were the inventor of Starbucks, and you were like, I think I'm gonna go with eggs. Okay, do what feels right for you. If you are not someone who likes eggs, then you liked coffee, you should have went for the coffee. Practice your discernment, though. Discernment is just knowing what's right for you. They have that saying, what's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. And that's just like a male goose and a female goose have differing needs. It doesn't matter the gender, but, like, what's right for me might not be right for my sister. What's right for my sister might not be right for my niece. So we all need different things. Practice your discernment. This is my last card, and this just says divine timing. And I think that, like, these things will become clearer to you, you know? It's weird sometimes that you can be yourself for, like, thousands of years and go through all of the things that you're going through and literally be right there and, like, still not be able to comprehend, like, what is actually happening to you until later on when you take some space, you sit down with yourself and you're like, wait, is that what happened? Yeah, because sometimes, you know, it's hard to see things the way that they are. And it could be because we have, like, this weird sense of how we think that we are, or how we think things should be. So, Taurus, that's all I have for you, and I really hope it helped. I hope it helps. I hope it helps. Have a good day.